Welcome to the Talk It Out Show. I'm your host, Lydia, today. And remember, this show is for entertainment purposes only. If you want to look us up on Facebook or Twitter, look us up on the Talk It Out Show. If you want to email any of your questions to us, you can send those questions to the talkitoutshow@gmail.com. If you need to physically send your questions in, send them to P.O. Box 901043, Portland, Oregon 97290. Okay, here we go. I'm going to introduce everybody. And to my left, I have Lauren.
Hello, everyone.
And to my right, I have Valerie.
Hello, everyone.
Okay, so today's topic is going to be help Lydia out. This is my question, and I need to talk it out with you guys today.
All righty then.
All right.
Okay, so my question is, how do you deal with your emotions when you're so frazzled? So I have like a two-part question here. My one son who decided to run away is back home, and I don't know how to feel about that because I really feel numb. Then I had another issue before that where a friend showed me their true colors, and I don't know how to respond, I know I put each person in their place, and we talked about that, but I'm numb. Like, I have no feelings on both. Like, with my child, it's like, I don't know where you're going to be. I don't want to be like my sister who is struggling in that area with her child when her child did it. And I don't want to be so distant that it's not comfortable to be home.
You want a lot.
Yeah. And I really need the help.
Well, numbness is natural. Numb is natural because, of course, you have to come to terms that you were hurt. Because when a child run away, because I've had many run away.
I don't know how that is.
Yeah, I had many.
Really?
Yeah, many
run away.
Yeah. I had my firstborn ran away twice and had somebody come talk to me like I had.
No, she didn't.
Yeah, so some lady out there talking about she don't want to be home with you and blah blah blah. And I said, look, you're harboring a runaway, and she's not home in 15 minutes. I'm gonna have you and everybody in your house put up together. Now, it took everything in my heart not to beat that girl down when she had my child, and my child peeking out like little Bo Peep.
She was peeking out.
So how did you deal with it when she came back home?
I was numb. I was angry because you know what? I had to come to terms with it. I didn't know what it was at the time, but it was rejection. I felt rejected, and it pierced my confidence as a parent. And I was thinking, and I was looking at, and I know that person that she was with wasn't a better parent than me. I already knew that. It's just that for some reason she was picking this other woman. It's like a husband. When a husband is saying, I want the other woman than you feel rejected. You feel rejected. You feel numb. You feel like, well, go with that person. And then when he goes with the person and find out that person wasn't right and he comes running back to you, what do you feel? You feel like you got your darn, you've been wanting them back all the time. But then when he comes back, you be like, you got your darn nerve. So she don't want you now. You just come back to me like I'm the comfortable one, but you were the comfortable one. Sometimes people need to see that and feel it. And 99.9% when they do come back, they come back
Change.
Absolutely. Even the husband, he was like, I don't care what some woman say. I know I have 100% of what I need with my wife, and no, you cannot turn my head anymore. Only because they've been out there and found out that it wasn't it.
Come on.
And so, and the same thing with runaways. Once they get out there,
they
all
realize
their friends that told them, "Hey, we're gonna have fun." It ain't fun.
Okay, and
all
they hungry
and
cold,
and they are never a part of. They're never a part of the family. They're always the outside. And when everything gets done, they're the ones that get used and abused because they don't know. And they're too ashamed sometimes and too just ashamed to come back and say, okay, I was wrong. Yeah, and they want somebody to rescue them, but they don't know how. And once they get in there, you can always tell if they're changed when they say. And then I know a little bit of your story. Then that person said, "Oh, I'm home," and very, very appreciative to be home, even though that person knows that it's going to take a while to thaw the ice and be. I mean, you were hurt, so you just gotta embrace that and come to terms with that. You've already forgiven and all that kind of stuff, but you were hurt, and you're like, I'm not going to get you're protecting your heart not to go through that again. I'm not going to deal with that again. Just like if it was a husband-spouse thing, your child can hurt you the same way, and you're like, you love them unconditionally, yes, but you're like, I'm not going to put myself in that position to be hurt again, because that's a terrible hurt. It's a terrible rejection.
I agree.
Valerie?
I do. I'm on the same page. I think that there a few things came through my mind as you were going through that, and the first thing that came to my mind is that it doesn't matter. There's a love walk that goes on, and I know that when I get angry and I get upset with people about things that they have done to me, what I do is I step away and take the time. Because something about time, if you cannot move and just walk daily in your daily life, and in time, God has a way of mending and healing that is broken. You know, and He has a way of doing that. And my issue is that I know that love is the key to the glue to hold this thing together. You know, is because when we have our families and all these things, it's unconditional love. You know what I mean? And sometimes we got to reach down in there for that love. You know, it's not right there because the enemy, first of all, mad, probably because he's home. You know what I mean? And he's safe now, and he's eating, and he's warm, and everything that you've taught him, he looked at that. He looked at the values that you taught him. Absolutely. And he got over there, and those values and stuff was not there. They weren't there. And so he didn't know. It took a lot for him she to come back, you know, into the fold. Because, you know, when I mess up, I'm not real fast to run over there. I had meditated on it a long time before I actually moved. Because it took up the nerve to come over and knock on the door, and whatever way it happened. You know what I mean? To come back in. But what I love about this particular story is that you loved him enough to let him in. You know what I mean? You loved him enough to you might have not kissed him, but you put your arms out and said, "Come on in. Your bed's over there, and there's some cookies over there, you know, and get you something to eat, you know." And then in time, my biggest piece of this whole thing is in time, you have to have that open discussion. It has to be a forum, and you have to bring the whole family together to meet and have a forum on what happened. You know what I mean? Because the kids, if there's other children, they're involved too. You know what I mean? And so they need to be able to say their piece in it too a little bit if they need to. You know, maybe they don't have anything to say, but at least give the form, and then they give you a form to say that this is this, and what do you plan on doing next time you're hurt in this situation? What are you going to do? Run every time it's hard? What are we going to do?
She's right, but in this case scenario,
beat them.
Oh my God! And then after that, I'm just kidding. No, in this case scenario, like I said, I know a little bit about her plight. Is that person has stated what made him survive was the teaching from this household. He said his mother told him he didn't know. Of course, when kids are out in home, then the mother is saying this, for some reason in their mind, she don't know what the heck she's talking about.
They don't.
And people and these other people, the influences outside will say, no, she don't know what she's talking about. This is what we're going to do. This is what I'm going to do. This. And then the mother is saying, no, this is not it. This is not it. I think you did a really brave and courageous thing when you said, well, then you go out there and see. And then you let them see. And then everything that you had said, and he can say this, and he can contest to this. Everything that you told him that was going to happen happened, just like he did. And how he survived was through the teachings that you taught him and the stuff that you put inside him. And so, and he said that. He said, I'll remember this. And then there were some things that on your part that you had to trust in him to do. Because in some things, when we were looking at him, he didn't look trustworthy to do A, B, and C. But because he was out there, he had a chance to do A, B, and C, and he found out the wows and the do's and the don'ts of the A, B's, and C's. And so now you can pretty much say, go out there and do A, B, and C. And when you say, I want you here at this time, he makes it his point to make sure that he doesn't disappoint you like he did before. And I think really it was God ordained. I think this had to happen. Because I don't think he would have changed because he thought he didn't have to change. But now he knows that if I don't get it together, I'm gonna be stuck with this country. Or worse.
Right. I agree.
Shoot. And he came back and saw we went on and we progressed. And he diminished. And they're like, we were going to make it. And if you was here, you would have progressed as well. But you decided to take matters into your own hands. And what did that get you? And he says that. But he understands that his survival was because of your teaching.
Right.
So I think, I keep saying that.
And I think that, them being aware of your expectations and reminding them of your expectations that the rules of the game hasn't changed. It's still the same, so, but if you have something, because maybe there's something that they do want to say that maybe you can implicate, maybe in the piece of them stepping away, there's something, if it's nonsense, it's nonsense. But sometimes they'll say something that hurt them that you weren't aware of, that sometimes is shocking. Because I know even with me, my granddaughter comes up to me sometimes to say stuff. And she says stuff because but we've had that kind of open relationship that she feels liberty to say things to me because I never act like I'm crazy. And if not, she'll go tell her, the popo, I call her the daddy, she's going to go tell her daddy, the popo, on me. You know what I mean? But I think that we have to give them an opportunity and to say, you know what I mean, what was going on. And if it's nonsense, then it's okay to say, well, that's just nonsense. But sometimes it's legit. It's like, okay, maybe I do need to think about how I was doing it, or whatever was happening, but I'm not necessarily the one to say to your kids that I was, sometimes I have said I'm wrong, you know what I mean? But it has to be a big one, you know what I mean? Because I don't want them to think, I'm wrong all the time. I'm wrong all the time, but I think you have to be able to admit that maybe you weren't, you're learning, you're a parent too, and you're learning too. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. That is true. But in this case, I don't think you were wrong.
Beat them.
Oh, well, then after you do that, I don't think in this case, being inside and being talked to. I think you
thought the grass was.
That's exactly.
The grass was greener
on the other
until
side.
they got there and found out that there was a whole bunch of brown spots in
that
grass.
The grass was greener at home.
It was green,
and
he was probably so glad to get in that bed and get ooh wee. He probably slept like a newborn baby.
When he got to the house, he said, "This is home."
And he did.
I mean, he almost got emotional because It was just like the prodigal son.
Man.
The prodigal son. The prodigal son went
Man.
around talking about, I don't give me my inheritance now. You ain't dead. I can't wait for you to die. Shoot, give me my inheritance now.
Right.
And so the father said, "So be it. Here's your inheritance." I'm gone. Hey, I got money over here. Get money here. Everybody used him and abused him, took him for everything, and then he had to work and he didn't get no good job, and he wasn't about nothing. See, when he was at his father's home, he had prestige and this, and now the pigs looking at him like, you better move over. This is my house. You just you better go on the other side. And he said, well, I can be a servant in my father's house. Yeah.
You probably didn't get your own room or none of that.
Right. Now, I agree with when Valerie said that everybody else is probably all the other brother. The other brother said, what are you back here for? Why are you giving him a big party?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this, that, the other? Well, you didn't give him a big party. So the brothers and sisters ain't saying that. You ain't giving the big party. You ain't doing all that.
Brothers and sisters is hard. Like I said, to me, it was like, for me, it was an eye-opener for everybody. I think it is. And I think because it really brought more peace in the home when he was gone. So my first thing was, how are you going to disrupt the peace that was at home? Because we were at a level, not saying the kids were perfect or anything by far, no. But I'm just saying that we had a peace. We had an understanding. Everything was smooth. So are you going to come in and change the dynamics? And then all I have in my head is, I'm not going to be like my sister and chase this child. I'm just not. I'm not going to beg for the child to stay. I'm not chasing. You want to leave? Goodbye. You know, I'm at that point, and I think I would have been different if it was a little bit different. Like if you came home on your own. Like, you know, anytime that I ran away or if I disappointed or anything, I always had to come back and apologize, and I had to come back. And so I was more on the ice. I was more of the person that had to make sure everything was changed, different. My dynamic was changed. My parents' dynamic didn't have to change. Mine. And this is way is like my dynamic. It feel like I need to change, and he doesn't.
No.
And that's where I have a feeling. Because when I even look at my niece, I look at her and I'm like, you're not doing that with me. But then I see my sister always chasing after my niece. And I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Well, I don't think you have to, and I think this is where Satan may be blinding you, because he's not going anywhere, and he saw the peace, and he's trying his best not to disrupt that. So I think that you really, what can happen is that we can always remember people's sins from beginning, and then don't see them
looking at this.
No. I'm just saying you don't see the person's change. You can't see that because it's just like when two a man and woman get together, and then they break up, and let's say 2, 3, 4 years later they get back together. That same old mentality of who that person is arises. You can't accept them for who they are now. If you used to can call and do bad things to the man before or the woman before, when you get back, you might be nice a couple of days, but when you get comfortable, you're going to go back to your own with that person. You may treat somebody else different, but you keep that person in, oh, this is how she always, or this is how he always.
I'm not even looking at the past, is what I'm saying. I'm not looking at the past. I just don't know what the future is. Because I'm going to put it this way.
Nobody
and this is just be honest. Being real. Cause
be real. This is talking out.
Here it goes. So, me, when I let you go and you decided to run away, and the agreement is I'm not going to look for you. I'm going to put a report out, but I'm not going to look for you.
Right.
And the report is just to not only cover myself, but if something happens, you know to contact me. So if any harm happens, you know to contact the mama. So that's where that came in. But you constantly, every time I was like, you made sure to cause friction, and you weren't here. So if you was causing friction at the house that I'm at, and you weren't here, what am I looking forward to? And you're here with the same friction.
He wanted you see where you're losing the piece of it to me is that you said it yourself. I didn't move. I did the report like we're supposed to, and I wouldn't watch TV and ate cookies. And the one thing that a child or even an adult needs to feel like is that you're chasing them, and so you didn't do it, and so he wanted to stir over here so he gets some kind of reaction out of you over there. And you didn't. Other people. And they did. Well, they were just mean.
Yeah, they
probably wanted her to come get them, please. But so they were stirring havoc.
That's how I got home. That's the reason how they got home is because they had called because we've gotten emails. Okay, we're sorry. You can have them back.
Yeah, they want them back fast.
But he felt that too.
Right.
He felt that too.
Right. And the only reason he was doing it, he wanted the emotion out of you. He needed you to throw something over the fence and come to the door and clown and act like you ain't got no sense. Then he would have smiled inside because you got what he was trying to get out of you. But you didn't do it. So it questioned in his mind, did she really care? Did she?
Yes.
And then, something, then they act out on that anger. You know what I mean? And do more stuff, But in my mind, when he finally came to the crossroad that he needed to come back, besides a little help from a friend, it sounds like, he was glad to be here. What I look for is, I would 100% agree with you, you look for the change. And if you see change. Now, whether you take the road to just watch for change or if you come to we would call in the conference table and discuss it. You know what I mean? And everybody discuss what is expectations and yada da 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 da. And I don't know if they're 18, they can't leave it before that. They're right.
Yeah.
They can leave out at 12.
But you can,
Well, I mean, like I said, even I guess
it's going to be changed,
and it could be. But like I said, even with the chasing, like when he was calling, and said, I would say, are you ready to come home?
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Okay. That would be my comment. Are you ready to come home? And he said no. I said okay then, and I left it in his hands. He knew.
Said, come on,
but I told him in the beginning I wasn't begging, and I told him because I used to run away from my parents that I'm gonna do the same thing my mama did, and them. I'm not going to chase y'all because I already know. But then, like I said, it's like my niece and my son are so much alike. That I just look at it and I'm like, I don't want to be that way. And so like right now, I'm just
did he feel like it was too many rules? Did he feel like
I'm strict. I'm not gonna lie, I'm very strict, and I'm very
Kids today, they don't have
they don't have enough strict,
no strict, no boundaries.
Yes,
do whatever you want.
So when my kids are with me or with any of my family members and stuff, my kids always gonna get compliments because I'm very strict. I'm not playing all that. And like I said, if I don't get on my kids and discipline them, the next people are gonna get on them and gonna shoot them, and that's the police. I don't have time. I know, regardless if anybody wants to believe it or not, that they are aiming to kill black kids and Mexican people and all that. So I'm already know. So I'm one step ahead. How you need to react, how you need to be. That's where my guideline is. So yes, I was very strict, and I'm not going to change that. Except for with him, I'm not straight. Like, do what you need to do, because my thing is, I'm not chasing anybody. I'm not doing that. So
I agree.
Whatever the philosophy is that you had, you gonna have. Because one thing I did say when he left, and I was more calmer than I am now. I said, I wanted him to have more freedom, but I couldn't give it to him because I have 2 kids here. And if they had to follow these rules, so did he. But he needed to have freedom to understand. But he didn't want to do his chores, including clean his room, and get his homework done. Those are the things that so if he did that, he would have gained freedom. He didn't want to do those things.
Well, he had somebody else in his ear say that they don't, that
you don't have to do that.
Yeah, the enemy tried to come in and disrupt the happy home, which they did. But sometimes what I say, what was meant for harm, God turned it around and did a beautiful thing. Because once a lot of people don't understand, that's in anything. The grass, as we were saying, it's not greener on the other side. The same potholes is in the same ground, dead grass over the sides.
They do that even in the relationship.
Yeah, it doesn't.
There cajola, he in a suit and you smell good every day, and he say things, and you thinking you get home, your husband scratching, and you got them boxing draws on with the short socks. It's sexy.
Oh, wow.
And so you looking over at him, you always smell good, and so you think you go over there, but you find out.
Yeah, quickly. I just
big old brown spot.
I just was looking at. I love this guy. His name is he's a pastor, Steve Furtick. He is such a really good. And then what right after him was Robert. Everybody is faking it until they make it. Nobody knows how to live. Nobody, I don't care what they have, nobody knows the formula of how to get it. I mean, we stumble up against stuff. That's it. And then Robert came right on afterwards and he said, talking about discipline. And then, and you know, we got the society and saying, spare the, don't spank and don't do this and don't do that and this and that and the other. And he was saying that parents, every child, you get a child that each child is different. And the parent knows that child. So everybody needs discipline. We got discipline. Go to your job and tell them that I ain't doing nothing today.
I'm going to my boss.
I'm going to my boss and tell them, and see if that boss tell you.
And I'm sick and tired.
See if that boss tells you time out. Go over there and have time out. See if he does that. He gonna tell you, get the heck out of here. Here's your pink slip, and that's it. Go to the police officer.
Your final check is
and throw a tantrum. Go to the police office and go to the police station and throw a tantrum and say, y'all make me sick. And then throw a tantrum and see what cage you're going to be in later on. There's consequences for everybody's action. And you can't just minimize it. I mean, you can't. You got, there's abuse, but you can't lump everybody in the same thing. So all I'm saying is I think this was God divined. I think that although it was meant for harm, I don't think change was going to ever come the way you were doing it at the beginning.
How God
and I do agree with that.
He shakes
I do agree. I just think, like for me, I'm gonna be honest. I think it's in my selfish way. Just wanted you to come back on your own, and not that I had to come pick you up. Not that I just wanted you to come back on your own, because then that would have told me you had some change because you had to come back on your own. Right. I think that's where my dilemma is.
And I want to encourage you to walk through your emotions. You know what I mean? Don't negate each emotion, because each emotion is part of the process. And so therefore, if you're angry right now, then that's all right. Be angry right now. You know what? And when that ship turns in the direction, you're going to feel it. I mean, but to me, if you stop the process, then you're just masking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're just masking it. Yeah. If you're hurt, I'm hurt. And then it's all right to say it.
That. Yeah.
I'm hurt. Yeah. And I don't know how long it's going to take me to be not hurt. I don't know. But just, here's some cookies. And so because I think it's like a death. You have to go through the different steps inside of that thing. And I've been very angry with my family and my friends in my lifetime, and I've distanced myself when I get like that. When I get like that, and you have harmed me or did something to me, then I have the tendency to get away. I won't call you. I don't care if I talk to you ever in a lifetime. You know what I mean? That's how I am. But I have to allow it to go through its process. Yeah. My closest and dearest friend, we were screaming and just screaming. And it took us a long time to work to this point even after they come and I'm sorry and you saying I'm sorry, or maybe you're not sorry, you know what I mean? But I think that you have to allow the thing to go into different emotions. But I do agree 100% is that if you're strong enough and you're okay with conflict, that to tell that person where you're hurt at, where you, if you can put your finger on it. And sometimes for me, I have to write it down. You know, I have to write down my, okay, I'm mad because, and then I'm mad, okay, and I'm really mad, you know, and then I can get a visual and a handle on where my emotions are jumping all over the place. And then I can rethink, sometimes I can rethink, was that the dumbest thing I ever seen, or, you know, because I was able to take a visual. So you might want to consider, you know, going that way, and to the listening audience, if you're going through a situation, maybe you might want to think about writing it down. You know, write it down so you can see where your visuals at. And then sometimes they call them, what do they call those things? When you just kind of like your prayer to God inside of a devotional book. What is
prayer journal?
Journal. You know, then you can journal your thoughts, and when you journal your thoughts, and when you come back on that thing and reread that thing, you're amazed by the response of how the situation. But sometimes we don't see it because we're just in that emotion right now. Right, you know.
I think that helped me from my other question, because I think my hardest thing is like when I'm usually get into it with my friends or something, I can take a break. And this time I wasn't able to take a break.
Couldn't. They were still right there.
They still in my face.
They still right there.
So I can't, like, I'm like, because so in my mind it's like, I'm now shocked on how you feel about me, and I can't breathe.
Did I say beat them? Beat them.
Yeah. That was the friend part. That was the friend one.
I don't know that the word of the day is a bad one, but I think that
you beat everybody, beat your child, beat your friend, beat everybody.
When I'm going through, first again, I have to check myself and see what I'm mad about. You know, what is it? And sometimes I found that I'm just tired. You know, I'm just hungry or whatever. It's not as bad as I'm in my head making it out to be. So I look at that first, and then I look at, okay, so you're mad because they said this and this. Okay, was they right? Was they wrong? Is this generating a change in me that I need to think about? You know, there's something in me that needs to, especially when they approach me about my actions or my behavior, you know, because I had to learn through the years to not tell everybody my every thought. You know what I mean? And so it took me a long time. People see me coming, they run. You know, because they said, "Oh Lord, she's either gonna preach at us, or she, you know, she gonna fire and brimstone everything that they say." And I had to learn that people are gonna be people, and they're gonna learn. They're gonna grow in their own time. You know what I mean?
And I got that. That part I got of people learning to be themselves and all that. I think my hardest part is not being able to separate so I can breathe. Yeah, I need to really breathe because, like I said, my eyes have been opened. I did not know how you felt. Now I know how you feel.
Okay.
And that doesn't sit well with me. Do you
feel like what they're saying is they're out of order, or do you feel like what they're saying to you is maybe something you need to consider?
I think it's out of order.
Okay. All right then. And so sometimes when people are telling you, you know, because I give liberty to a lot of, like, I lead a group of ladies from time to time, quite often. But one of the things I allow them to do is to criticize me. I take a day and I say, today, tell me my faults. Today. And they go around and it's a tough one because you don't know what people are going to say to you.
How people
and how they perceive you. And man, and you're like this, shocking. You know, you're like, okay. You know, of course, one of the areas is a weak area. I'll be running late. You know what I mean? That's one of my things. And of course, somebody gonna say that in the group. And so, but but it allows me also to take criticism off of people, and whether I want to change, if I feel like it needs a change, or if
you set me down as a friend and talk to me and display stuff, I think it's totally different than
she probably they didn't feel like they. You know,
again,
it didn't happen today.
No, and that's what I calculated in my head. It didn't happen today. No. And I also was one of those things is what I do is none of your business. It didn't affect you.
True.
So and for you to have such a passion,
you're so shocked you can't talk.
No, it was an argument.
Okay.
It was an argument.
Okay.
And I cussed.
Oh, see, that's nobody shut down at that point.
Well, it wasn't. It was because I was explaining, and now you're trying to make me out to be a liar. You wouldn't even let me. You just only in your clouded mind had your visual with, and I'm like, I'm explaining everything, and I'm talking about everything, and then pretty soon I just was like, I'm not getting anywhere with this conversation. So, F you stupid B Q X Y Z.
That was too many words. And I think that's a good. I love that analogy. I love. I mean, I don't think we should go to the part where F and Z.
I was trying not to, but
I love the discipline when you just say, "Listen, we're going to disagree because at this point we're not at a good place, and you're clearly you're not listening to me, and I'm clearly not listening to you, or reverse it, put you first and then them second, And so let's just shut this down and let's give permission to revisit this conversation at another time and dismiss yourself. It's hard to do and it takes discipline and I'm learning. I'm not perfect at it because my emotions are level 10 by that time. You know what I mean? And it takes a lot. But I saw this girl work that like that and she looked at me and I was on level 10 and she said, you know what? I think that we're at a place that we're not agreeing. So we're just going to cut this off. And I'm mad. Because you don't let me I want to get all my words out, because I'm, you know what I mean? And I believe I'm right, and so, and it was the simplest thing about, we shared this duplex and your week to take the trash out and you don't want to do it. And so I asked you nicely and then I came to you again and you still didn't want to do it. And then I watched how she handled me on my level 10. She never raised her voice and she said she's done with this conversation. And that's it. I said, I got to learn to do that. You know what I mean? To say, I'm done with this conversation but it didn't come out right because I'm not right. I won't even want to tell you what I did next. So because you're on level 10, and so it's hard to take yourself off that ledge.
It is. And like I said, I know, like for me, when I was cussing, it was to purposely change the subject on to the cussing. So it wasn't, I was cussing just to be cussing. I wasn't loud. Not the same tone I was then. I just wanted, now let's revert this conversation to me cussing so we can then don't cuss at me. And then that could be the conversation. Because in my mind...
You're arguing about the cussing.
Yeah, because my mind, that's how I wanted to set it. Because my mind is like, this is going to be over with in the morning. Because what's hyping you up will be out of your system in the morning. So let's just revert it to something else. And so I was going to let it go. I really was. I had it in all my mind to let it go until I woke up that morning. And he came in the bathroom and said, I'm still mad at you, but I love you like a sister. And that was not the response I wanted. I'm just going to be honest. I love you.
I'm still mad.
And so that was the thing.
So she was, he or she, they were continuing the fight.
Because they thought they were dismantling the fight, but saying, I know I'm right about this situation, you're wrong, but I love you and it's over. So then when
they were laying there all night guilty.
Yeah, but then I looked. I don't know. I looked.
I do.
And then I just shut down. Now I'm not talking to you. I don't want to have a conversation with you ever now. Because you don't realize what you did, and you think you're right, and you have no business. Like I said.
Okay, I want to go deeper I want to go deeper in that. Okay.
Okay.
I want to go a little bit deeper in that. If somebody said to you, you wear polka dots every time. I'm sick and tired of you wearing polka dots. You make me sick with those polka dots. I'm tired of you wearing polka dots. You think you're cute in those polka dots, but let me tell you one darn thing. You are not cute in your polka dots. Would you get mad?
It depends on if the tone is away. Yeah,
you wouldn't get mad. Okay.
If the tone is, because it's really about the tone with me. It's the tone, because you can tell me stuff, and I'm regardless if I might be wrong or if I'm right about the conversation, I'm going to respond, but not in anger. But go
I
ahead.
wasn't finished. Okay.
Yeah,
But I asked you a question. You did that.
Analogy.
And so what I'm saying is, you say you do, but sometimes you just look at them and go, because you don't wear polka dots. You've never worn polka dots. So you might say that. I've never worn polka dots. Yes, you have worn polka dots. I've seen you in polka dots. Around, you look at them as ignorant to themselves. And you don't even get upset with them. But what makes you really angry, it doesn't have to be true about you. If someone has challenged, I have a daughter that we've challenged her in her parenting. I challenged her in her parenting and that she wasn't doing right because at one time she wasn't. So you can talk to her about anything, but you hit that parenting chord. And because even though she is an exceptionally good parent now, you hit that parent chord, and because she hasn't gotten confidence in herself yet in that will strike up a defense. And so I think with that person is not confident in her parenting skills. Therefore, she looks at that as you with that parenting skill, your parenting skill. For some reason, you may feel, because everybody's figuring out how to be a parent. There might be something because you had some challenging children that you had to deal with at first. You did a darn good job, but maybe you're not all the way satisfied with you. I know that person's not satisfied in her parenting skills. And so those two things clash. Not the personality. The personality, yes, blah, blah, blah. But there's some demons that is really, when I say arguments, when God says you're not wrestling with flesh and blood, but with principalities of the darkness, well, those two things may have clashed, and it hurts on both sides. Hurts because things don't settle right. I know in demons in that side, demons is totally always circling on that side, and of course, your person had ran away, and you probably had. Did I do right? Did I do that? Should I did this? Because I don't care. When my child ran away, those are the same demons that came to me. Did I do right? Should I not do that? I know she skipped so many days of school. Maybe I didn't handle it right. Should I not? You just don't. So, and when people always came to me and say, well, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong, this wrong. So I've always had that. I don't know. So I think really, yeah, you might do need time.
Yep.
But to really focus on not what the words were, and like I say this all the time, what's really bugging you,
mm-hmm.
and then knowing
what was really bugging me. Mm-hmm. What was really bugging me is I didn't know you had such a strong emotion, because I remember talking about the same situation a couple of years back. We talked about it, had a conversation, and I'm like, this is stupid, this is dumb, and then have this emotion, and like I said, I blamed it until that morning. I blamed it on the alcohol. But then that morning when you came back to me with that conversation, and like I was the person, then that told me, you're not who I thought you were. You're not the friend that I thought you were. I had to fight this battle with everybody. Yes, we've had our arguments. Yes, we had our fight. Yes, we had our differences. But this is not, I'm at the part where I said, you're not who I thought you were. This relationship wasn't as real as I thought it was. That's where I'm battling. And people change too. Yeah, and that's where it is. It's like, okay, so, I started off with 4 good friends, and I'm ending with 0. That's where it is. Hold on. Thank you, everybody. I hope you like the show. We're going to continue. Please come with us and join us on our continue of the Talk It Out show.